Greetings, my fellow gamers, and welcome to the Warship Podcast, the podcast where I talk about nothing but World of Warships. Now, normally I would have viewer-submitted topics or viewer-submitted questions. I probably should have done that in advance, but we'll just do this on the fly. I have two topics I want to talk about. This podcast may be a little short, and I do apologize if it's a little short. Once I start getting some topics rolling in future episodes, the podcast will go on a little bit longer. May even have some guests from time to time. My experience with the German battleship line. What do I think about it? What are my thoughts? What are my opinions? What are my desires, so to speak? I absolutely love the German battleship line, especially those little guns attached to the side of the ship that spit out fire at a range of 10.6 kilometers. And it is just absolutely hilarious. I could be sailing along like a happy German captain, wearing lederhosen and dancing around and drinking beer, and my little secondary batteries start opening fire, and I chuckle on the inside, knowing that the more than likely enemy destroyer captain is receiving a raining of fire down upon him, and then proceeds to die by the secondary batteries or get lit up to the point where an allied ship finishes him off, and the destroyer in chat proceeds to declare that German battleship secondaries are overpowered and need to be nerfed. Into which I have a chuckle on the inside and continue sailing along and enjoying my day. But it's not just the secondary batteries that are amazing, it is the fact that these ships can take a massive beating and continue to keep fighting. I think the most fun I've had so far on the German battleship line was the Bismarck. Now, bear in mind, I'm in the Friedrich the Great. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the German pronunciation of great because, it's been, I want to say, almost 7 years since I've last taken a German class, and I don't really feel like embarrassing myself in front of a whole bunch of people, which I probably already did. So cheers to me. But nevertheless, I digress. My thoughts about the Friedrich, however, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I like the ship. I really do. It's a fun ship once you have it fully upgraded. If you don't have it fully upgraded, especially if you don't have that stock hull, she is a nightmare on the seas. Not for the enemy, but for you. And I'm not saying the ship is a terrible ship by any means. It just takes a little while to get used to. But once you get used to her, she's actually kind of fun. She's actually a really, really fun ship, and I do enjoy playing her. Now, I can't really speak of an actual review of the line in total because I don't have the Kurfürst yet. But I can imagine that her secondaries are just as hilarious as the Friedrichs and the Bismarck secondaries are. So if anybody, I am asking anybody that's watching this podcast, if you have a Kurfürst, or Kurfürst, I'm sure it's Kurfürst, but if you have a Kurfürst, please tell me how her secondary batteries are, because I want to know if they are absolutely hilarious when those little guns go off and they start raining shells down. Now, my thoughts on the German destroyer line. Well, they look interesting. I've seen a video that the Mighty Jingles has done. I've seen another one, and I can't remember the YouTuber's name off the top of my head. He's actually an upcoming YouTuber, and he's actually really good. If I find his channel, I'll link it in the description. He was talking about the German destroyers, and honestly, I actually have a very interesting opinion of them. I like them. I'm absolutely terrible with destroyers, so I can't really give an educated opinion about any of the destroyer lines because, well, I only made it up to tier 7, and then I was like, oh my god, I'm terrible with destroyers, what am I doing? I'm just, like I said, I don't think I just have the patience. I like to take a beating, I like to take the damage, and playing destroyers is probably not the best idea. My stats would probably show that. But nevertheless, I am excited that destroyer captains are finally getting another destroyer line. Yes, it is going to be hilarious to shoot at these destroyers with my amazing high rate of fire German battleship secondary batteries, and it's going to be fun to sink them. And say, oh hey look, there's a new ship, I must sink it. Let's go sink it. Just like what happened to the Missouri, right? Speaking of the Missouri, what do y'all think of her? I don't have it, because, well, I would much rather spend the experience on another tech line if I had the choice, but I'm actually a fan of the Iowa-class battleships. I like them. I think they're beautiful ships. But the Missouri is probably not going to be in my port anytime soon. Now moving on to the last and final topic. What are my thoughts about the British cruiser tech line? Well, my German battleships love to sink them, if that's what you're wondering. I love getting devastating strikes on those lovely British cruisers. The funny thing is, I've actually had more devastating strikes in my Tirpitz than I had in any other battleship in my port right now. And I think it is absolutely hilarious that a Tirpitz can just look at a British cruiser that's shooting its armor-piercing, desperately trying to sink you, and you just evaporate it with one salvo. Now, I can't speak for every German battleship captain, but I think it is absolutely hilarious. And I'm probably sure I'm going to hell for that. Well, I'm actually going to hell for playing German battleships anyway, but, that's neither here nor there. Well, if you call hell being stuck on a team that decides to lemming one direction and leaving you to defend one flank, then yeah, I guess this is hell. That is the first podcast for World of Warships, on my channel anyway. If you want to submit any viewer-submitted topics, you feel free to. If you want to submit any questions, feel free to. If you have a comment that you would like me to read on the podcast, I'll be more than happy to do that. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Be safe, sink some ships, and have a good one. I'll see you next time.